Hi. So this was my first time working with augmented and virtual reality, and I first want to say that I was pleasantly surprised by how many apps there were. And a lot of them would not load. Where are they? A lot of them wouldn't load from, oh my gosh, sorry. A lot of them would not load from this list down here. So I decided to take a couple from Common Sense Media and ISTE. So the first thing I'll show you is what I discovered on ISTE, and it's called A History of Ideas. And I think this is so interesting because it's topics about history and psychology and what else? History, psychology, and philosophy and culture. And it doesn't actually give students lessons. The teacher needs to teach the lessons, or it needs to be some kind of student inquiry thing. But these are really great short snippets of like augmented reality videos that kind of get students thinking, or that can, I don't know, cause them to have an idea for some kind of writing assignment. It's also just like really interesting things that they may not know otherwise. It kind of reminds me of like a short podcast. And this is just a cool way for students to kind of learn something and see it very virtually, and to be able to write something about it. So, or discuss it in class. So I'll click on this one.
Now, a chance to catch up with all this week's programmes from A History of Ideas with the Omnibus. Each week, Melvin Bragg and 4 expert guests.
Give us your take on this.
My program is meant to be focusing on the loving of children.
By adults.
By adults. The better kind, rather than the worst kind.
Anyway, so kind of like a podcast type thing. This one doesn't actually have it, but others have images and things like that. Again, I've said it many times before, and the screencast, my computer is so slow it won't load in that way. I was able to watch a few on my phone, but I can't record a screencast on my phone. So this is really cool. It's great to do for history, psychology, philosophy. I'm an English language arts teacher. You could do it for Spanish or any of the world languages if you're trying to teach culture. You could even do it for math. This is cross curricular, so that's cool. Even cooler than this one, I thought, was this one. So it's called 360 Cities, and you can type in any city, and it shows you panoramic 3D images of that city. So my students beg to go on field trips all of the time, but it's difficult to take students, especially when we have so many in a class. It's difficult to take them on field trips when you have limited buses and all of that. So this is a really cool way to sort of virtually see a city. So I typed in New York just because everyone knows New York. And if you put your cursor over any of the images, it gives you a full 360 view. I thought this one was really cool down here. Here's the city skyline. It actually takes you around through the skyline view. You can look at it down here, nightlife. Here's theater, or I'm sorry, the General Assembly Hall, and you can actually, it tells you the name. Morgan Library, New York City. This is just so cool. So I'm definitely going to be using this with my students whenever we do get back to school. Actually, no, I can probably use it during coronavirus time because my students are one-to-one. They have their Chromebooks at home. So anyway, a really, really cool virtual reality thing. This can be for students in all grade levels. It can be for students in all courses. And it can be a way for them to dive right in virtually to a place without having to actually visit the place. So very cool. And then one thing I used Tour Builder. And right before we left, I was teaching about Shakespeare, especially in context of Romeo and Juliet. So I created this today, and I will play it for you really fast. So this is a quick interactive biography of William Shakespeare's life. I apologize, there are pictures in each of these. Some of them are not popping up, but again, they are on my phone. All right, Shakespeare's birthplace on April 23rd, 1564. Shakespeare was born in Stratford upon Avon in the United Kingdom. His parents' names were John and Mary, and he was their first son. Why is this not? Okay, clearly I need to keep working on this because this is not actually showing up where it's supposed to be. Oh, here they are. I'm sorry. Anyway, this is totally new to me, and I apologize, but right here I have all of my little pins, and I typed in the places which are right here, and I'm not really sure why it's not showing it in that way. But I created this little biographical thing starting in Stratford upon Avon, going to London, and then ending up back in Stratford upon Avon. I talked about Shakespeare's birthplace, where he went to school, which is now a girls' grammar school in Stratford. Right here, that's he and his wife, Anne Hathaway. I talked about how they had twins. Then he moved to London and he worked at the Globe Theatre, actually on the Globe Theatre, because he built it with the Lord Chamberlain's men. And then I talk about down here how he went back, and then the last few months of his life spent his time with his wife and his family, but then died on his birthday in 1616. So again, I apologize. I'm so sorry. I simply don't want to record this entire video again, but down here are my pins. I don't know why it started over in Maryland, but this is really, really cool to use with students, especially in an inquiry kind of way, because it's easy to create something like this. It was very user-friendly, and students can use it in a way that, or they can use it in partners, or they can use it alone, and virtually follow Shakespeare's life or any person's life. This again can be used for all kinds of students in all grade levels, all courses, just a really, really cool way to implement virtual reality. Also, since you can put a description and a picture for each one, it works well for ESOL learners or for co-taught children or for anyone with any sort of learning differentiation or accommodations because it's visual, it's there are words, and I'm not really sure actually, but I wonder if there is a way to sort of record something or to drop in music somewhere or to make it more auditory too. So, really, really cool thing. I look forward to using it.